Hi, how you doing? And welcome back to another video on the channel. What we have for you today is our preview video going into game week 7 of Fantasy Premier League. And as you can tell by the title, I do have my bench boost active. We'll be talking about why that's the case later in the video. We're going to start with a quick review of game week 6. And if you are new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. The support on the latest video was fantastic, as it has been all season. So thank you very much for that. It is really appreciated. And let's get into it. So as I get my team on the board, just going to talk about my rank for the game week. It was pretty good, to be honest. I think if you'd have told me at the end of Saturday that I would have scored 76 points when I only had 25 on Saturday, I would have bitten your hand off. It just so happened that a lot of other managers also scored well on Sunday as well. I did have a red arrow of about 30k, which, to be honest, is essentially staying the same, especially at this stage of the season when everyone is so close together. And the longer I can stay inside the top 500k, I'll absolutely take that as someone that doesn't normally start Fantasy League as well as I have done this season. So the points came from Onana in goal, who got a clean sheet and a save point. The defence, I did pretty well with my transfer. A bit of an understatement, really, in terms of I took Ake out, who scored 1 point, came on late on in the Man City game, and I brought in Botman, who scored a goal and kept a clean sheet against Sheffield United for 12 points. Estupinan did manage to get an assist, although I'm a little bit concerned as to why Brighton just don't seem to be keeping clean sheets. And Ben Chilwell is the main concern in my team moving forward, a second game week in a row of scoring 0 points after he's come on off the bench and got booked. The defenders on the bench, though, for me, I kind of made the right decision. There wasn't really anyone that massively outscored anyone else, with Saliba getting 1 point. Kind of thought that Arsenal Spurs game was going to be a pretty high scoring game, as it proved to be. The midfield is a bit of a mixed results, to be honest. We got Saka and Foden, who did really well, and then the other three that kind of didn't and haven't been doing it for a couple of weeks, to be honest, when you look at the recent performances. I'm hoping they can turn it around for this game week when I've got my bench boost on. I can't really afford for them to not, but at least they are all playing consistent minutes. Up front, I captained Haaland. I'm probably always going to do that, really. I know he only scored 6 points, 12 with the captaincy, and there's always going to be the potential for someone to outscore Haaland, but the skill of picking who that is and then them actually doing it consistently each game week isn't very likely. So I think at this stage of the season, you're better off just playing it safe and captaining him. Watkins got his first goal of the season, which was fantastic. Hopefully, I think he's going to be a big player over the next few game weeks, and I think he's going to be someone people are going to start looking to get in their teams. And whilst Morris was on the bench, it was good that he did score the penalty because I've got him in for my bench boost and his double in game week 7. So on to the fixtures for this game week, and it starts off pretty well on Saturday, to be honest. Aston Villa at home to Brighton is a great game for the neutral, as both are going for top 6 in the Premier League. But the real thing is the 3 o'clock kickoffs. You've got Arsenal, Man United, Newcastle, and Man City all playing at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Doesn't really happen that often, and I think it's something that will definitely be, worth keeping an eye on. I think by the end of Saturday, you are definitely going to know whether it's going to be a good week or a bad week in FPL. The main fixture, though, could be argued is the 5:30 kickoff between Spurs and Liverpool. You definitely wouldn't want any defenders in this fixture, but from an attacking point of view, you could really get some good returns as both teams do tend to attack better than they defend. Sunday's game, just the one game, Nottingham Forest against Brentford. Nothing too exciting, really. Maybe you've got Turner or Mbuemo in your team and you'll be keeping an eye on it, but nothing that's going to impact your rank too much, you wouldn't have thought. And maybe the same for Monday. I think everyone's got one or two Chelsea players, unless you've sold them already. I think Chelsea haven't scored in their last 3 game weeks, which is a massive concern, really, as someone that owns a Chelsea midfielder. And, we've already talked about Chilwell as well. Do I think Chilwell is probably going to be more likely to play this game week? Yeah, because Gusto's red card in game week 6. But it is something that it is worth monitoring moving forward. And the final game week, a game for the game week, is Luton versus Burnley. Now, I think if you were going to get in any players for the double, you'd get in Luton. I think Everton and Burnley as a double fixture is pretty much as good as it gets. I think it's only going to be bettered if you were to play Luton and Sheffield United in a double. So really, in terms of who they're playing, it's fantastic. It's whether you back Luton players to actually pull it out the bag and score some points in fantasy league. So let's talk about why I'm bench boosting. So for me, the bench boost is quite overrated in fantasy league. I think the most points you can expect to get from a bench boost are like 15 to 20. And people normally save them for a double game week, but there's not that many double game weeks this season. For me, I think if you've got players in your team, all 15 players that have A, good fixtures, and B, they're playing, in a game week, whether it's single or double, I think just play them. I think sometimes you can really overthink and overplan for the bench boost, because it usually involves making transfers for the second and third players that are on your bench, players that you wouldn't normally play. And if you're making transfers there, you're then taking attention away from your starting 11, and maybe there's gaps in there that need filling. So, you're probably looking at 2 weeks before your bench boost starting to really focus on it. And unless you're going to wildcard straight after your bench boost, you've kind of then got players sitting on your bench. They're probably more expensive than you'd like, and then you have to use more transfers to get them out. So really, what are you actually, you're not gaining too many points from that. The reason I'm bench boosting this game week is because I'm also planning on wildcarding in game week 8, so I can kind of just put in players for the short term, knowing that I'm then going to take them out after game week 7 straight away, and then I can go for like a really simple, cheap bench for essentially the rest of the season. I don't need to worry about my bench boost anymore. So that's just my thoughts on it. I think if you've just got a good game week where all your players are playing, I'd just play it. So I'm starting with Onana in goal and Turner as well. Both have home games, and I think both really have quite a realistic chance of keeping a clean sheet. In defence, I mean, I think it's pretty good. I've made the Dan Burn transfer in for Baldock. Already made the Botman transfer for game week 6. Should have maybe have made the Dan Burn transfer as well. The reason I've made that transfer already is because Baldock definitely wasn't going to play, and I knew I wanted Dan Burn in, so I thought I might as well make that transfer early. I do still have a one transfer left and zero point 0.2 million in the bank. I think my main concern, like I said, is Ben Chilwell, and I could get any other defender in for this game week that's not a Liverpool defender like Trent, Robertson, or Van Dijk, or Trippier. I could literally afford everybody else. So let me know what you think if you've got a defender that you think is essentially going to definitely keep a clean sheet this game week, or if you think there's a defender that's going to get some attacking returns this game week and is maybe better than Chilwell, because what I don't want is any of these players to start on the bench. I think in terms of defending for this game week, you've got maybe a Luton defender. They've got a double game week. I think you've got Man United at home to Palace. That looks pretty good as well. And West Ham at home to Sheffield looks like a great fixture, anyone that's playing Sheffield. The flip side of that is West Ham haven't actually kept a clean sheet so far this season, which is a bit of a concern for me. But yeah, like I said, let me know if you've got any advice, anything you think I could do. The midfield, whilst we've got a lot of away games, I think they are playing teams that they should be. I also think because they're all playing, they're all going to get minutes. They all have a chance of scoring points, which is just an absolute bonus for if you're bench boosting because you want the most minutes possible from all your players to get your maximum points. Up front, I'm going to captain Haaland again. Like I said, there's no point in overthinking it. I think as well, I've got Watkins. I would like to say, the fact that Brighton haven't kept a clean sheet in recent times really does mean and give me confidence that Watkins could score. And I've got Morrison for this game week in particular. The double game week, he is Luton's main attacker and he's on pens. So that's the team. So, like I said, let me know what you think. If you are interested in watching my latest wildcard video, the link for that should be on the screen right about now. Thank you so much for all the support. If you are new, please do subscribe as well. It is greatly appreciated. Good luck in your game week, especially if you're bench boosting, and I will see you in the next one.